So I shouldn't just tell everyone how you faffed about with the lights right now. And
No, don't tell anyone. I was
Mhm.
organized. This
Yeah,
lighting though is actually going to be the death of me. Like,
we're 3 minutes late.
sorry, sorry, Emma. Okay, Emma, Emma key dilemma key.
Bye.
Emma, thank you for agreeing to do this.
You're
You're one of
welcome. I
the
hope that you
first.
release my parents from the basement after this.
Well, they might still see it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, you were one of the first people I thought of interviewing actually because I know you in person. I obviously think you're an amazing person. We've spent time together.
Hmm.
Um, and you're funny and yeah, and I think that makes for some good questions. So,
Hmm.
I'm gonna let you introduce yourself a little bit further, but at the moment, your ex bio is global comms lead, Bravado Gaming,
Hmm.
esports enjoyer, camera user, recovering shit poster.
Yes, I stand by that one pretty well. Um, it's interesting because that's how I present myself somewhat professionally on Twitter, because Twitter X is where esports lives. That's kind of my more professional side. And then on Instagram, it's something like I make things look pretty and think I'm funny. That's
Yeah.
the other side to it. But yeah, so I work at Bravado, as is evident by the shirt, and you can't tell, but this is where I am. I'm at the office right now. Esports enjoyer, I mean, it's the industry I work in. It's something I'm very passionate about. I've been a player. I've worked in multiple different capacities. Camera user, arguably more important in my life, having been a
Mm-hmm.
photographer professionally for a couple of years now. It's also just like a really cool hobby. I enjoy it loads. And then recovering
Mm-hmm.
shit poster, that's yeah. I was a
How?
very prominent shit poster.
Yes, yes. You. I think a lot of people know you for that. That era.
Mm,
And you said I didn't go this far down in your tweets, but I think I have been following you for long enough
yes.
to. I think that's actually kind of where I started to know you is from Twitter. Um, and you said 2021 was like the shit posting era.
Yes. So, for those who aren't necessarily endemic to the gaming world, shitposting is basically just saying really obscure and interesting is a very liberal term. Interesting posts. Um, I will spare the details for those of you who aren't aware. I'd prefer you don't find out unless you put in the effort yourself. But yeah, that was a time in my life. But it was interesting because it taught me a lot about personal branding and how you form connections within the scene. It taught me a lot about
Mm-hmm.
Twitter as a platform, but also learned a lot about the scene itself.
Mm-hmm. And I think that makes you. I think you run the socials for Bravado. I'm
Yes,
pretty sure you do. Yeah.
I'm the lead of that. Yeah, I headed up.
Yeah, but I think that makes you a very good social lead because you're so aware of the scene and what the scene
Mm,
responds to, right?
yeah, like one of the main characteristics of socials in an industry like esports, as opposed to my previous industry, paints and chemicals, like your trend there is that there's a
So
new color.
similar.
There's a new color once a year or something. Like this year, you're looking at cream, and the next year you're looking at stone. But in esports, trends live and die in a matter of hours, and you need to be able
Hmm.
to figure out what is trending and get onto it before it's too late. Because
Hmm.
I mean, if a certain trend lasts 8 hours, and that's a pretty generous time frame for certain trends. If it lasts eight
Hmm.
hours, you've only got 8 hours to identify it, figure out how to incorporate it into your strategy in a way that isn't going to piss off the advertisers or
Hmm.
make your sponsors be like, what's this
Hmm.
about? So it is a bit of a talent having to know how the scene will react to certain things. And being the one to test those waters yourself is a pretty good strategy.
Yeah. And do you have to sign off your posts?
Um, Only with myself. Every so often, if I want to be a little bit spicy and engage into organizational banter, then I do seek approval from others because I know that I am a very emotionally volatile person, and I think it's just good practice for anyone who may have a bias of emotion or ego to just get someone else to make sure that you don't say something that could be regretted later on. Because yeah, you can slam someone and tell them that they're awful, but then in 2 hours when your game comes, they can just retweet that and get a better reaction out of you because now you're being made to look stupid.
Yeah. I want to take a step back a little bit. Speaking about the esports scene, for anyone who might be watching, I hope people who aren't in esports will watch these interviews as well. What sort of things do you need to keep your finger on the pulse for? Like, I obviously know it'll be tournaments and things like that happening. You're reporting kind of live from socials. What does that look like in esports?
So there's elements to it that are, well, you've got different types of campaigns that you can run. You can either run something live, so an in-person offline LAN event, such as last year we had Comic-Con with the VS Finals, which is the largest Counter-Strike tournament in the country and the sub-Saharan African region. So something like that, which is offline, you need to have all your graphic assets prepared ahead of time, but the majority of the work is in person, running around, making sure that fans of the brand are updated live with as much that's relevant to them as possible. So I think we were, between myself and Carmen, who is division's graphic designer and a friend of mine, she was helping me out with that. As well as Matab, who is in Egypt. She's our socials coordinator. So between the three of us, we were gathering about 200 gigabytes of content through the 4 days time frame, which was going to be used for vlogs, high quality photography, because it's one thing to do it on a cell phone, but it elevates the standard of enjoyment and just your brand appeal to have professional photography. We had graphics going out for each game, each MVP. At the end of the game, during the games, there were at least 3 clips per game that I would be coordinating with to get clips from the live stream and post it to our socials with a caption that was funny, and then meme responses. Even when we weren't playing, we were active. I remember the one game where it was Goliath versus Vibin. It was the lower bracket run, and we were in the upper bracket. So I was there on the day that I didn't have to be, making sure that I was on the pulse, ready to tweet about that game. So that's one thing. That's your live events. Then your other thing would be anything with partners or just like more fixed content. So Alienware, Intel, these are our sponsors. So we need to create content that we've created. Well, we need to create content in conjunction with them to promote them, because obviously you're not going to sponsor us if it's just a name on a shirt. Like, we need to do something to uphold our end of the bargain. So you need to kind of schedule that out and plan it and figure out how to put that into your overall strategy. Because whilst it would be fun to just be memes and jokes all the time, you do need to have some element of seriousness. And then you'll have your like online ladder tournaments, which are just happening constantly. So there'll be 1 game per week for a period of 3 months for this one league, which would be separate from any other events in any other divisions. So I'm referencing Counter-Strike a lot because that's my kind of love child. But
and you're
get
very good at it as well.
Yes, that's how I got into the esports scene, by being a competitor of Counter-Strike myself. But so you can have multiple different titles and multiple different leagues going on simultaneously. So you need to kind of pick and choose which games do you feel are important for people to care about. Because as much as getting a 13-0 win is a feels good moment for you, it can also be in poor taste to do it against a team that's very new, where it's like, sure, you're a Premier League team playing against the Sunday Football Club. Like, if you're not winning to that extent, it's kind of it's expected. So it's in poor taste to just dog on them for the sake of it. So you need to figure out who your main rivals are, how to engage with them as well. Because certain brands have certain voices and you need to be able to interact with them. Like, if I'm tweeting at you and I'm calling you pretty, that's one thing versus me tweeting at Ariana Grande calling her pretty. For you, it's fine because there's context that we're friends. But yeah, same person. But if I'm tweeting at this person, it's awkward because there's no pre-established connection to them. So it's like you need to manage those social connections.
Yeah, it's a constant like interaction, constant two-way, multi-way interaction. It's not as simple as just putting something out there.
Yeah, and you need to make sure that across all of this, every questions and answer video, every ship post, every sponsored segment, it is all within the same tone where you don't need to see who it's from, but you can tell it's us.
Yeah.
Articles written, it's marketing effectively.
Yeah, exactly. And Bravado obviously is a respected, for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what Bravado is, a very respected South African, also Middle Eastern organization, esports organization. Beautiful offices in Johannesburg as well. And you've been with Bravado for a year now.
Yes, I celebrated my year's anniversary a week ago.
Yeah. I remember when you moved to Joburg, you and I went out for a meal. That was the first time I think we met in person.
No, well, the first time we spoke in person, the first time we met in person was actually at the Comic-Con after party the year before, where we were both very drunk. We were like, hi, and moved on. Oh, yeah, you were drinking cappuccinos at a club. Yeah, that's a cool memory.
Yeah, that's a cool memory. Okay, so what is your day-to-day? You came from Pietermaritzburg, which if anyone is watching that isn't from South Africa or doesn't know Pietermaritzburg, because it is a very small town. Yeah, I was born in Pietermaritzburg, and we also kind of connected over that. Didn't live there for very long, but now that you're in Joburg, you're working for Bravado, it's been a year. What does your day-to-day look like?
It's quite fluid and loose, but the kind of set structure to it is I'll wake up at about 8:30 in the morning. I have very lovely hours here. Working in esports, you tend to work quite late, so you get to wake up a bit later as well. It's not 7:30 in the morning. So wake up at about 8:30 to get to the office at about 10, and then I work at the office until about 3 in the afternoon, and then go home. From there, depends on what chores I need to get done. Like, do I need to do shopping? Do I need to fill up with petrol? Do I need to do the dishes, sweep the floors, etc., etc.? I'll tend to do that when I get home, just because once you get dressed and you're lazy, it's not happening.
Yeah.
As much as you think you're a good person, it's not happening. And then I'll try to figure out how to fit gym into that. I try to go at least 6 times a week because else I hate life. And then dinner, doing work in the evenings. So if we're playing games at 8 p.m., then I'm there watching everything. Because as much as it would seem that it would suck to have to work at 8 p.m., it's what I was doing anyways, and it's something I do enjoy. So there's that side of it. And then I'll sleep at about 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, offset by that later wake up time. Unfortunately, being ADHD and a completely self-dependent individual, there's no schedule. It's what I feel like, which is great.
Yeah. And you enjoy cooking. I know you're also going through like your tweets, and just like having known you for a while. I know you've been training as well, and you've seen like quite a lot of progression with that.
Yeah, so I've been doing physical training, going to the gym for about a year now. In conjunction with the food thing, I previously had a fairly severe eating disorder, and within 6 months of living by myself and kind of forcing myself to take this new leaf of my life, I'd gained 30 kilograms between just eating properly and gaining muscle mass suddenly. And I cook like what I think is really good food, something that I would happily pay for. I mean, I don't look like I've gained 30 kilograms, but yeah, gives context to how bad it was. So
yeah,
I do enjoy food. I do enjoy exercising.
Yeah. So I said I was going to go through some of your some of your old tweets.
Yeah.
I didn't go as far back as 2021. You're pretty active.
I am pretty active, yes. Thankfully, it's my saving grace at the moment.
Exactly. It literally saved you from older tweets. But there's this sort of running joke, and I know a few people in the ZA content creator scene are kind of like in on it. You said you actually WhatsApped me just before the chat, and you were like, I want to roast Jess so bad.
Yes, I love Jess to bits. Jess Hines, another creator who you've had on this. Is it a podcast? I don't know what it is. This content
I'm not
piece.
it. I mean, it is, but it's a.
Yeah.
I like to call it an interview because like everyone has a podcast, so I'm just like, I'm
Yes.
going to call it interviews.
But she's another guest that you've had on, and I love her to bits. We have a very good relationship between ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, she likes to roast you. It's a good time. So here's one. Okay, so July 19th, 2023. So how on earth do you speak to women? Because I emoji, lip emoji, I emoji.
Yes. You kind of need to put it up on the screen, but it's like this face. It's like, how? I stand by that one. I don't know how to speak to women. If they speak to me, it's fine. But if I speak to them, it doesn't happen, actually. I've not gotten that far.
You just don't do it.
Mm-mm.
What would you, let's give you a scenario. Let's say, what would you say to someone? I don't know. Where would you meet someone? Like, okay, you're getting coffee. You're getting coffee. There's a woman who you think is nice in front of you in the queue. What do you say?
I'd say nothing. I will want to.
Yeah, we're practicing now.
Oh,
What would you wanna say?
Something not creepy and be like, hi, I think you're really pretty. I would love to get to know you, which is perfectly fine as a rough breakdown of how I would approach them. But does that ever happen? No, it does not.
Okay.
No. Entirely my own doing, I'm aware, but no. You're scary.
Okay, next one, June. Okay, so this was actually before. June 30th, 2023, a reference to the previous year's tweet. The previous year was, it's Pride Month. I'm once again asking for a girl to, brackets, please kiss me. And you quote tweeted next year as my year.
Yes, so the running joke is that I've been single for a very long time, and
yes, I didn't actually give that background. Yeah.
Each Pride Month, I kind of take it as my opportunity to publicly display that I'm still alone, as if no one was aware for some reason. And I don't know, you just kind of have to take this with good humor. Like, nothing happens, so next year's my year. It'll happen year after year after year. Okay,
so there was one last year as well, May 8th, where you quote tweeted a bravado tweet where you had replied to Alienware and Outer World saying perfect. And Alienware, one of Bravado's sponsors, was like, yeah, you are. And you quote tweeted, so bad at flirting that I'm left speechless by brand banter.
Yeah. So maintaining a relationship with your partners on socials is part of the job. And so you want to hype each other up. And so I replied to one of their tweets saying perfect. And when they replied back saying, yes, you are, done. I don't know. If someone ever did that to me in person, I'm scared of how I'd react if that was just as a brand interaction.
Yeah, that was a good, that was smooth by Alienware, actually.
Oh, yeah. That. I need to find out who it was and get tips.
Yeah, very rizzy, as the Gen Zers say.
Yes,
well, you don't say rizzy. You don't say rizzy.
No, please never say that.
Sorry, I'm a millennial, Emma.
With Riz.
Oh, with Riz. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so that is just really just a drop in the ocean of some of the...
Yes, those are very tame compared to my old self.
Yeah.
Fortunately and unfortunately. So I've got this extension on my Twitter. Any social media managers who use Twitter, Tweet Hunter X, great extension. But one of the things that it does is it tells you tweets that account made on that day for all years past. So today's 7th of February. It shows me all tweets that I made on the 7th of February in years past. It's useful for just throwback Thursdays and fan interaction, seeing what they like. It's amusing. But for me, it's traumatizing. Because I get to see my tweets from a new eye, and I get to experience them how you would have in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see some of them, and I just can't help but laugh, being like, "What on earth was I thinking?" which I'm pretty sure is exactly how all of you thought about it.
I mean, I found it very entertaining. I genuinely think that was around the time I followed you. Um, okay, so
I love that no one knows exactly what these kinds of tweets were. They were very horny. There's no other way to put it. They were. So, and you can imagine, if I'm just turning the heads of an entire community, how interesting my choice wording was.
Okay, so if you want to go and look at Emma's tweets,
Good luck.
EmmaD1lemma on Twitter, it's going to be in the caption or in the bio. In the bio, the description for this video. Wow, welcome to YouTube. Okay,
Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, share it with your grandparents. Actually, no, don't do that. Don't share it with your grandparents for this one. Share it.
Not this one. Not this one.
Not this one.
Okay, so going back to Pietermaritzburg. Pietermaritzburg is a very small town in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, close to Durban. What was it like living and growing up in Pietermaritzburg?
So as much as I resent the city for being very small and not having very many opportunities, it's an everyone knows everyone situation. There aren't very many opportunities outside of your very traditional job types. The fact that I wanted to work in esports when, I'll admit, my job didn't exist at the time that I wanted it. When I was in high school, working full-time in esports was a pipe dream, even if you're a European. There were like maybe 3 people who were doing it who worked for organizations. Very, very lucrative job type. And so as much as I resent it for being very small, rigid, conservative, it did help me to grow as a person and learn when the right time to move out was. Yeah, because I lived there my entire life. I studied there. I didn't do the usual thing which people would do, which is go to university in either Pretoria, Joburg, or Cape Town. I stayed put. And I didn't meet anyone new. I was at the time, very driven by anxiety disorders and anxious, understandably. And all my hobbies were playing games and being inside. So I never got out much. But it did help to nurture me in a way that was at my own pace. But if I'm going to be real about it, it's awful. You can retire there, sure, but as a creative who has tattoos and wanted weird color hair, you can't really see it now, but I've been through purples and blues and oranges. So I've been through all these different colors. I have tattoos all over. I do photography and graphic design and social media, and then I'm in gaming. Like, not happening. I'm working remotely elsewhere in Pietermaritzburg. But yeah, it was interesting. Every now and then it's quite curious being in Joburg, and there'll be a moment where I'm like, wow, I came from the sticks. Like, this is just amazing. And one of those moments was the fact that there were cup holders on both sides of a seat in the cinema. I was like, this is next level. Who thought of this? It's great.
Technology is amazing.
Yeah. So it was quite old and backwards, but I don't hate it. I don't hate any part of my life and upbringing because ultimately it made me who I am. But I would never choose to go back. It's also just humid and hot. It's geographically, it's a hole, so nothing escapes. It's just a layer of fog and the dump burns all the time, factories, pollution. It's just awful.
Yeah.
So screw that place.
I mean, I think I was born there, but I don't really remember much about it because, I was there from the age of 0 until
There's also not much to remember.
I suppose. Until about 0.5 maybe. So I don't even think that long.
Half for most people's eyes. Thank you.
Half years old. Until I was half years old.
Yes.
But I have been back, and it is very pretty. It's like foresty and lots of vegetation.
Yes.
There's definitely a charm. But I mean, I completely understand why you wouldn't want to go back. I don't think I would necessarily want to live there either.
Yeah. As my psychologist says, I outgrew the city quite dramatically. There's just not enough going on, nothing appealing to me. So it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like your take on, like, you are happy with how everything has gone. Like, you're happy that you grew up there. It was good for you, the stability and everything. What are you most proud of?
So like it kind of leans into what I said about Maritzburg. Like there's nothing I would change about myself. And I'd say what I am most proud of is like the silent battles that I've won to get to where I am in life, where honestly, if you don't like me, I don't care. Like I'm very set in my ways that I like where I am. They're only kind of, it's like the silent battles refers to mental health. In case someone hasn't put it together, that the lady with weird hair and tattoos has had problems. But like this tattoo, the sleeve, is kind of the physical embodiment of it. So the silent battles being like when I was 17, I attempted to overdose, and I've dealt with self-harm for a good few years. Sorry, by the way, there's probably be a trigger warning about this, but so dealing with that year on year, as well as various other mental health issues, which I can't do anything about. I just have to learn to live with it. I try to be vocal about mental health, which isn't silent necessarily, but in a way it is. Like no one talks about how shit day-to-day life can be in those day-to-day moments. So I'd say I'm most proud about that, like getting through all of those moments where life felt like it wasn't worthwhile to now being at a point where I'm like, it is worthwhile. Even if you are having a bad day, suck it up, get on with it. So referencing this tattoo, when I was struggling with self-harm, I would draw on myself to distract myself because it was pretty and cool, and it was nice to think I had tattoos. But there's also something called the Butterfly Project, which, for those who aren't aware, is when to deal with self-harm, you would draw a butterfly and name it after someone that you knew in real life. And so if you cut, you would kill the butterfly. And giving that kind of, that sounded quite morbid, it basically gave a emotive connection to a reason to not. And so you can see there's a bunch of butterflies all over. This one over here, and this one over here. Those are all butterflies that I drew myself previously. Which just took photos of and plonked them on. So each section of tattoo, initially it was the half sleeve, and then this one, and then I want to get more of it up here, eventually taking over my body. Each of those represents a phase in my life where I grew from it, because they're flowers, get it? They grow. And so I'd say that's what I'm most proud of, like the silent battles that I've grown from, and that I didn't let them define me, but I defined them in a way that works for my life. That's a very deep answer.
No, I like that. I think I think it's very, you said it's not necessarily silent if you are like vocal about it, but there's a lot that people can't really vocalize or can't put into words. There are a lot of experiences, we can't possibly translate our entire lives into words and, explain it to everyone. So, a large part of it is silent. And I think it's really good of you to speak about it because, it's like so many people have these struggles.
Yeah. I'd say it kind of links into why my Twitter did so well, because as much as it was very weird and out there, it was very relatable at the end of the day. Being like, I don't care, I'm just going to go get a pizza and cry. Like, everyone has those moments. So being able to discuss mental health issues in a platform which is very relatable, I felt like it gave good visibility to it. And there were one or two people who messaged me and being like, I understand, thank you for saying this, kind of thing. And for me, that's all worth it, because if I can be altruistic in the sense of ignoring my own pain to make others better, then sure, I'll go through it again. Why not? It made me really witty and snarky and humorous because coping mechanisms are great. But yeah.
Yeah, you must know when someone's funny that they've been through some stuff, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
What do you, maybe this kind of ties into that question, but what do you wish people knew about you? I actually asked this, I asked Jess this as well.
What was her answer? I'm not going to copy, I promise.
Go and copy her homework. Jess said that she's more approachable. It's interesting because I asked Shanae. Yeah, I asked Shanae a similar question, and their answers overlapped a little bit. Both said that they're more approachable than they appear.
Yes.
They're not like judgmental and bitchy or whatever it is. So Jess, in a sort of longer way, said something similar to Shanae. Like, she's not, she's not judgy, she's not bitchy, she's she didn't say these words, but she's a nice person.
Yeah. I would disagree with Jess on my personal front. She bullies me ruthlessly, constantly, with love. And I know I said I wasn't going to copy the answer, but the answer I'd pre-planned was that I'm not scary. Please. People keep telling me at events that they don't want to come up to me and say hi. I understand that I have an incredible resting bitch face, so I wouldn't blame you if I were in your shoes, but I'm not scary. If anything, I'm quite maternal over people, so like, come here, little baby. And I mean, I'm nearly 2 meters tall, and I've got muscles, so like I can, hold and protect.
Give a good hug.
Exactly. So that's like one answer to it. I'm not scary. Please come and talk to me, especially if you are single as a woman between the ages of 23 and 29. Thank you. Come find me. But I'd say another answer would be, as a more like personal tidbit, I just really love words. It's interesting. Like, I just love words. I mean, I would like to think I have a fairly diverse lexicon.
Well, that's one lexicon.
That's one word. I wanted to say Sisyphean earlier, but I forgot to throw that in, which relates to Sisyphus and his Greek mythology, his task of rolling a stone out of hell, seen as this like impossible task. I wanted to say Sisyphean somewhere along here, but I missed it. Like, I just love words, which are cool, Like, I love learning different languages, and I love learning to just listening to different songs. Like, I've been listening to music this whole time. There's lyrics that stand out to me, which I like to use in writing somehow. If I'm writing an article, I will never repeat. Like, if I'm saying ambidextrous to describe a mouse, I will never say ambidextrous more than once. Never. And that's like a hallmark of my writing. I will do everything in my power to word around saying something. I love words. Obscure ones. Ameliorate. That's a fun word I learned recently, which means to make a situation better.
Ameliorate?
Ameliorate, yes. To make something better.
I'm gonna say that sometime later today.
You sound like a smartass when you do it, and it feels good. I also just love learning bits and pieces of different languages, linguistics in general. I learned of the topic of sociolinguistics recently, which is how social factors influence your linguistic choices.
Yeah, so fascinating.
Topics like the gay voice. Like, why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Fucking cool.
It is absolutely fascinating. That aspect of linguistics also really appeals to me.
Like, being able to read different languages, different alphabets. Cyrillic, the Arabic alphabet. I've been learning how to read that recently. It's really cool. It is cool.
That
I know
looks
Danish,
really hard.
English, Afrikaans. Well, I say Danish and Afrikaans. I know them.
Right.
Yeah, just love words. So if you want to talk about nerdy shit, or if you're scared of me, just think of what I've just said about how I want to learn languages just for the sake of being able to read them, and know that I'm not scary. If you have a cool name, conversation starter. Done.
Also, if you're between the ages of 23 and
make sure to emphasize that.
And attractive.
Yes, just please.
And you like words. It's perfect.
Puns as well.
Sorry?
Puns as well.
Like, puns as well,
Language, communications. I guess that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally perfect. So before we started, I don't think I'd hit record yet. I was worried about you roasting about my bad lighting. Yes. You said you didn't know how to answer this question. How do you see yourself?
Yeah, I straight up said with a mirror, sometimes selfies.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because I'm not good at selfies despite being a photographer. Told you I'd get that in there. I don't know how I see myself. I could throw out adjectives left, right, and center to describe myself. Like, I'm tall, I have pink hair, I have blue eyes, I am a bit snarky and irritating, but with love and endearment comes those terms. I like music. I can describe myself as a person, but I don't know how I see myself, which is a very interesting concept. What did Jess say? I'm not going to copy, I promise.
Jess had a very interesting answer. She said she's kind of reassessing that, based on her later autistic diagnosis. She is still kind of learning. She said that like her, Grant and her close friends would easily be able to describe her, but she said she is kind of reevaluating how she sees herself.
Like, it's that whole thing of like you don't see progress incrementally when you deal with yourself every hour of your life. It kind of relating this back to the previous question of what do you wish people knew about you. You have different masks for different occasions. So like I am talking to you much differently than I would an executive at Intel, or I was going to say a friend and unintentionally roast you, but like there's different context to conversation and to like your social persona.
we wouldn't necessarily be having a conversation like this in person. We'd be a lot more like light, I guess, like not looking at each other face to face. Yeah.
So like there's all these different masks, and I wouldn't necessarily change anything about how people perceive me, because if you're hiding something, then there's something that you wish to change about yourself, but there isn't anything I wish to change about myself necessarily. But in that same breath, I'm constantly changing. I feel like everyone is. If you're not, then you're a witch. That's the only answer. So I don't know how I see myself other than as who I am, but that answer would change depending on who you ask. I think I'm the least qualified person to say how I see myself.
That is interesting. Because it's kind of like you can understand or you can describe how you think certain people see you, but other people also see you differently, and the way you see yourself is not the way other people see you necessarily.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, where people think I'm scary. I don't think I'm scary. I'm listening to death metal right now, but I'm talking about Shakespeare. I flirted with one girl comparing our Shakespeare collections. Dead ass. Did that before. So like I'm not scary. But to others who see me in a different light, absolutely I'm scary because I'm this like tall person running around with the camera and I'm working for this very prestigious esports organization and I look very busy and they wouldn't bother with me because I'm just this 6 follower Andy on Twitter who sometimes plays games. If you come up to me, I think you're fucking cool. More cool than anyone who actually has a following who might be interested in clout. If you're just I say this with love and endearment, this like small fry, that's cool. Because you have a different perspective on the world than I do. I want to talk to you.
Yeah. If you could go back 5 years and tell yourself something about your present, what would you be most surprised about?
That was 5 years ago. I left this answer alone. 2009. I was 19. Okay.
So young.
I know. I'm only 24. 5 years ago, I was starting my first job full time. I was just recently single or recently found my ex. That's if I could change something, I would tell her don't date her. But the only consistency between myself now and then is that I was into photography. I wasn't in gaming then. I was working for a paints and chemicals company doing IT. That's what I was going to be doing. I was going to work as a network administrator. Very different to what I'm doing now. I was living in Pietermaritzburg. I had intentions on living in a small place forever. I'd say the like big thing that would be surprising is that I'm working at an organization like Bravado, which everyone has that kind of childhood club. Like some people be diehard fans of Manchester United since they were 7. For me, being esports, Bravado was always the org that I looked up to because they were the biggest in South Africa. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like they're local. There's presentations from Afrikaans orals in grade 10 where I reference them. So, I mean, that'd be cool to tell little me, like, go. Or I had tattoos as well. At that point in my life, I didn't want tattoos. So my life is entirely different to then. I'm pretty sure I could say anything about my life now, and little me would be surprised about it. Yeah, like I've got tattoos all over. I've got multiple colors of hair in my life. I live by myself in Johannesburg, working in esports, doing social media, basically. Where did that come from?
Yeah. So I love that concept though, because I find so many surprising things happen, in your life. Like, going to, I don't know, maybe it's just, maybe it's not like that for everyone, right? For you, definitely, I would say it is. For me, definitely it is. If I tell myself stuff that's going to happen, I would be like, how? Like, no
Yeah.
ways. That's crazy.
I mean, I guess the question does also fall onto a very fortunate time frame of the very formative years of my early adulthood. Because I mean, 19, I'm freshly out of high school, a year past, first year uni, to now where I've got 5 years of working experience behind me. There's a lot that happens in those 5 years. Like, I've gone from how do I cook 2-minute noodles to I really want to buy this really expensive steak to go with my wine. Like, very different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if my life was completely different, I could tell 19-year-old me what happened, and I'd be like, "That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, how?
Yeah. How did you do that?" Luck
Yeah.
is the answer, little one. But
Aw.
don't look back. Keep looking forward. That's a tip.
Yeah. 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 I like that. What has gaming taught you?
Many social things. I'll separate out of game and in game. In game, it taught me how to swear in multiple different languages. It taught me how to be very quick-witted, and if someone roasted me for missing a shot, I would punt back like, "Fuck you for saying that I missed my shot. Where are your words when you missed your shot? Everyone does it. Fuck off." Sorry if you have to censor this. I'm not sure what the age restriction is, but
No, we're good.
so like in game, I guess computer competency. I can type blind. I know how to use a computer very well. Like technological inclination to use things. I guess that's what taught me. But
Yeah.
outside would be social aspects, like how communities form, how to engage with people, how to engage with people in a digital context. I feel is a very important lesson for people to learn nowadays, with especially after COVID. That was kind of an accelerating factor for the world of like digital meetings. The fact that this is happening where we're having a conversation whilst you're in England and I'm in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Wild,
Yeah.
I say.
Yeah.
So how to communicate digitally, how to communicate via text, because in game, if you're speaking to the enemy team, you're texting. You need to learn how to like communicate.
And efficiently.
Yeah,
Like
and also just like
militantly almost.
friendships that you
Yeah.
foster online is completely separate to ones that you would in person.
Yeah.
Professionally, it's very different. Like the amount of times when I was by my parents over Christmas and I nearly swore at them, because not because I'm swearing at them like, "Oh, I hate you," but more just like every aspect of my life. At home, I swear to myself. My friends, we all swear. At work, I post tweets to thousands of people where I'm swearing.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to code switch out of that because there's no
Yeah.
context in my life where I don't need to, except for when I'm with my parents. And when I only see them twice, 3 times a year, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing gaming taught me: how to swear at my parents. That's a great way to answer that question.
Oh my gosh. There was something else I just thought of. Yeah, you mentioned community. I just wanted to like make a
Yes.
note of that. I think that was one of the biggest things I learned about like from streaming is the power of community. It sounds like so cliche, but how powerful community and how important community is.
No, definitely. Like, just knowing people and knowing who's your friend, who's got your back, who doesn't. It's all because I mean the main context that you'd have for that outside of gaming would be like your work circle. Like, oh, Becky from accounting is my arch nemesis. Is like that's your life. You go to work of like a company of a certain amount of people, and Becky from accounting is your enemy. But you really like this person, but turns out they're in HR. So do they really like you? You don't know. But in gaming, it's a lot more cut and dry because it's people having fun.
Yeah.
And also like interacting with streamers. Like that's another thing that gaming taught me, is how to be a lot more sure of myself and a lot more confidence to myself. Because I was a very shy and timid little thing when I started streaming 2 years ago. If you look at any VODs of mine, I would be like looking away like this, and I'm not looking at the camera, and I'm very quiet and mumbling. And I do mumble, but that's just because I speak quickly. Completely different persona to you at that time. But leading back toward community, knowing people is important.
Yeah.
Like I was in a situation recently where I'll spare details for the sake of it, but something very unsavory happened toward me, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I contacted a friend of mine who I know deals with those things on the regular. And I was like, help. How does situation fix? And then they like kind of helped me out from there with this knowingness that if ever they were in a situation where they could lean on my expertise, absolutely. And that's that kind of communal love. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to Becky from accounting. I'm going to person.
Yeah, exactly. We did touch on this, and I have an inkling, but how's your love life?
I mean, in case it's not been made apparent yet, it's awful.
Excuse me.
Awful? No, not awful. It's not there. That's a better way of saying it. There's nothing happening. My previous relationship was unfortunately quite abusive and toxic, so understandably I took some time after that to kind of figure stuff out, because it damaged me and broke me, unfortunately. So it's been about 4 years since then. 3 years since then. So it took me a little while to figure it out to where I'm now, where I'm like, yeah, I could probably date again. I've been on 1 or 2 dates since in this past year of moving to Johannesburg, but otherwise, nothing's really happened. And I'm fine with that. It'll happen when it happens. If you're one of those people who's watching and is like, the right person will come when you're least expecting it, shut up.
Stop it.
I have not been expecting it for 3 years and nothing's happened, despite moving all around the country, all around this Johannesburg. Like, nothing's happened. Shut up. You're wrong.
Yeah.
It's my fault for not going outside. Unfortunately, that's what I have to accept. But
sorry.
It's fine. So
give me 1 second. I'm gonna leave that in there. I'm gonna leave it in. I'm not gonna edit that part of me coughing out. Yeah.
Get it? Because you were sick.
Okay.
This is this interview is basically a resume for who I am as a person. If you're interested in me,
yeah.
If you're stalking me, you will find this. And if you're not enticed by that, don't date me.
Yeah, exactly. The puns, the
quick-witted stupidity. That's me.
Yeah, exactly. And your links are going to be in the description. So
yes, I'll make sure to use all the catfish photos.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to do with you was I'm going to say you're a Gen Zer. You're
Unfortunately
the only Gen Zer in the Bravado offices.
Yeah, it's weird to think that I'm the only one in Gen Z in an esports office, but
yeah,
even then,
that
barely.
Is crazy.
Barely. I missed the cusp by like a couple months. I have a 19-year-old sister, and we are very definitely separate, but within the same generation still. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm Gen Z.
Yeah, because
I know slang because I'm chronically online. I have to be in social media, so I know the culture.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think I'm doing too badly as a millennial, except that I said
you
Rizzy,
said Rizzy. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Okay. The other day, I actually do need to tell you this. I saw this reel. This girl made this reel about things that her sister, who's a Gen Zer, said are no longer cool. And one of the things that I thought were incredibly valuable, and I'm completely with that, is self-deprecation. Like, it's not cool anymore. Millennials did it. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, there's a certain tone that you have to do it in, and it's with humor. You can't just be self-deprecating outright.
Yeah.
Like, linking back to that tweet earlier of "I'll get one next year" at the like reference to Pride Month. That you have to do it with humor. You can't just be like, "No one loves me."
Yeah, it's not as funny.
I would be drinking
when you
alcohol
say it like that
if I said that. Just like that.
Is that vodka?
No, it's water. Okay. I'm at work, Chloe. I don't know what your standards are, but
I don't know what you guys do. Another one was memes and GIFs. Like, just no more. Stop. Like, no more memes, no more GIFs. I was like, okay.
I will be a bit of a boomer explaining this with a bit of a boomer for those who don't know memes, and a bit of an old person, a bit more formal and serious. Being someone who loves communications. Sorry, did I just mansplain that one for you?
It's just funny how you said it, like a bit more formal and serious.
Yeah, yes. So being someone who loves communications in different languages, memes are a form of visual communication. And the shift in how meme formats have worked in the last couple of years is very interesting, to where now memes don't mean anything other than just humor. as an image
Mhm.
form. Like beforehand, it would be like, oh, there's memes where it was the like spiraling background, and then there would be a dinosaur, and there'd be top text and bottom text, and
Yeah.
each different image would reference a different mood. Gone are those days. Or like the keep calm and carry on thing, which was adapted into keep calm and insert adjective or verb here. That
Yeah.
has all changed, and if you use that, you're a bit out of touch and a bit out of
Yeah.
date. And yeah, so memes are very interesting to understand.
I am
And they've
so
changed a lot.
happy to see the end of keep calm and verb now.
Yeah, that died in like 2012. Someone posted a meme like that on Twitter recently, which is why I referenced it. And go back to 2012 was the overwhelming response. Not that's true or that's relatable or that's funny. It's
like,
where are you from?
Yeah, like, what are you new on it? Is it your first day on the internet?
Which in of itself became a meme, because it just became a meme to dunk on this person in more creative ways to describe that age gap. Because like, if you're posting that meme, you've been living under a rock, quite frankly.
Or it's like coming back around again, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's too soon.
Yeah, there's this kind of cyclical humor to it.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, what I was going to do, I'm going to say a couple of words. I want you to respond with a Gen Z.
Cool.
Like, this is so boomer of me to be doing.
This is just market research for your own vocab. I get it.
I want to learn. learn the words. Okay, so I'm going to say something like a prompt. You can respond with a Gen Z slang word.
Cool. I'm going to hate this.
Okay, bravado.
Slay.
Esports.
Based.
Let
me give context to what they mean. So slay is kind of this like girly pop. That's another slang word. Yeah, girly pop. If you can't figure out, read between the lines. This very girly pop thing of being like, oh, slay, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Sick, wicked, radical, tubular, synonymous. Yeah. And then based would be
like real, like
similar, but yeah, more based in reality. That's cool. Instead of being very complimentary, just being more like descriptive, being like cool.
Yeah, like real, like yeah.
It's difficult to explain the nuance without social context.
That's why there's a new word, right? That's why we don't just say like real. Okay. Nixa.
I don't know. I'm struggling to think of one. Nixa is our rival org, for those who are unaware, the uninitiated. Cringe.
Okay.
But cringe doesn't mean like cringe-worthy. Like cringe has the emotions of it from my perspective, but I'm not calling them outright cringe. No, I would never do that. They are quite cringe though.
I think I'm going to get Dalen or Jason on for an interview.
Yeah, it would be quite fun to have a chat with him about this and just comparing words.
Yeah.
But he's got the boomer lexicon for him, so I would win by virtue of the internet.
CSGO.
Dead. CS2.
Dead.
CS2.
Okay, CS2.
Sorry.
Okay, CS2 then.
Sorry to be a stickler. Yikes. I'm not sure if that counts as Gen Z slang. There's probably like 19-year-olds who are thinking like, oh, you're a boomer. You don't know. I said something completely different to you. Which is fair. I have no idea. Yikes, I suppose. It's very difficult to distinguish between Gen Z slang and young gamer slang, because there's a difference.
Yeah. Okay. Gaming on a laptop.
Girl boss.
Okay. Woman.
Woman. There are many words, but as Gen Z slang, I don't know. There's nothing that comes to mind immediately. I don't want to repeat things. I made a point of that, so I feel like I should stick to it. But Slayer's coming back to mind, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's more like as a term of empowerment than simping, which is another bit of slang.
Simping, yeah. Banned on Twitch. Yeah.
To like someone, to put it lightly.
Yeah. Okay, the internet. The internet, Jen. I don't know if you watched IT Crowd.
I have. I'm going to expand upon Girl Boss and say gatekeep, gaslight, Girl Boss.
Okay.
It encapsulates a lot of moods for the internet. Yeah. I'm not going to explain that one. If you're interested, go Google it.
Okay, cool. Basketball.
Pop off.
Pop off. I like that.
It's not for me, but you do you, King. Pop off.
Yeah. Okay. Photography.
What on earth did I say for this? I feel very old all of a sudden. I nearly referenced a very millennial thing and said do it for the Vine. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'll stick to it. Do it for the Vine, but in an ironic sense, makes it Gen Z.
Yeah, exactly. If it's ironically, it's fine.
Yeah, part of Gen Z culture is referencing older cultures with a tune of irony to it. So
right.
I'm going to take that authority and say that that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, last one. Duolingo.
The duo bird, bruh. They are weird on socials. They are very scary. Oh, that's a face that's getting clipped. Yeah, scary. I don't know. Weird,
scary.
interesting.
I'm trying
it's
to
not
think,
Gen Z culture though. I feel so old. Yeah, I feel old now. I don't know. Why did you do this to me? There's going to be a horde of 19 to 17-year-olds in my replies being like, "You're old."
You don't know the slang. You don't know the Gen Z slang. Imposter.
Imposter is a cool one. Or sus.
Or like sus.
Sus, yes.
Sus
there we
would
go.
be a good one. There we
go. Sus originates from gaming through the very popular game over the COVID eras of Among Us.
Among Us. That's why when I said imposter, we both thought of sus because of Among Us. Yeah.
Game breaks down into imposters and crewmates, and you have to, if you're imposter, sabotage the crewmates. If you're crewmate, figure out who the imposter is, and that's where suspicious comes from. Being like, I'm suspicious of X person, but that's too many consonants and vowels.
Yeah.
And so sus syllables. Is better. Syllables, that's the word. I didn't study this language for 4 years. Yeah, it's too many syllables. It's like 3 syllables.
Sus.
I want 1. Yeah.
I actually kind of love that a lot of slang originates from gaming though, because I feel like we kind of get it first, and it's interesting if you like language.
Internet culture in general. Like you see a lot of it coming from TikTok. Yeah, a lot of it comes from TikTok, and it's very interesting to see it kind of forming.
Yeah, it's fascinating. If you like language, I think slang is very interesting because that's that cultural influence of culture on language. That's exactly it, right?
Great description.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so good with language.
For 10 marks, I give you 8.
That'll do.
English homework due on my desk Monday morning before you leave class. Thank you.